Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish It on the Movies. Today we're doing another Goosebumps review. Okay, I'm done with that. We're doing a re-review of Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, which is, what number is this, Marco?
It's number 9.
Oh, it's number 9, okay. Sorry. Anyway, we already did this review.
But it got deleted, and it's terrible because it was a historic moment for the channel where Safi said the F word for the first time, and it was like the movie was that bad that Safi resorted to saying the F word. It was very, very fitting, and it's like, wow, terrible. It's like the Nixon tapes, like losing that, like it's terrible. Or what else would be?
I don't know.
Good example, like losing a historic piece of footage where Safi said what? What'd you say?
The F word.
Well, what does that mean?
This movie
because
is terrible and it's stupid.
There's one F word that begins with F and ends with T, and it's a word to describe people who are acting very gay, but not gay like in the literal sense, but, you know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm still mad. Somebody told me today on a review of the Goosebumps series we just did that girls and boys in high school wear pearls to school.
No, they don't.
At this day and age. And I just don't believe it. She says she has kids in high school and that they wear pearls. Both the boys and the girls.
That's a lie.
And I don't know what I think she's delusional. So anyway, I'm still reeling about that.
She's on the sauce.
I don't know what she's on the sauce. She didn't watch the series.
She's on the secret sauce.
She can't say she didn't watch it.
Just like you.
But anyway, I won't say anything else. We were supposed to be talking about this movie. This movie is crap.
Well, see, we're done with it. That's why.
That's why I said the F word.
Yeah, what is the F word? Say it again.
No.
Why not?
I just don't want to. I'm not in the mood to do that.
Damn it.
Anyway.
Maybe you'll say it for Jason Goes to Space.
This has something really gross in it. Just totally grossed me out.
Well, no, let's start off because, that wasn't the opening scene. That was like right after.
Yeah, it's
the
right
opening
after.
scene. First off, you had this really gross sequence with like this girl who Safi described as attractive. I would disagree. And she goes into this cabin, into this gross bathroom with like this really disgusting bathtub. It looks so gross. It looked like we went to this really gross motel in Missouri one time, and it was the place where I threw up from eating Spam. Remember that, Safi?
Oh, God.
When I barfed in the sink and it overflowed.
And Marco barfs in the sink. Tell him to not do that anymore.
Yeah, well, I couldn't help it.
Barfs in the
and
sink.
the bathroom was so gross, like it was all rusty and gross, like it was out of a Saw movie. And this bitch, she takes off her bra and she hangs it over the shower rod. That was gross too. I mean, it was such an icky scene. And then she takes off her panties and she throws those in the dirty sink. And like, ugh, like that has to be probably the grossest shower scene I've ever seen on film.
Well, it's just the fact she felt so comfortable in a dirty bathroom like
that.
I just to take it, and she was doing this because why was she doing it? Because she was doing a setup for an entrapment. An entrapment for who? Well, let's see, they're near Crystal Lake, and it's dark, and it's an old house or a cabin, probably a house, and anyway, who shows up?
Jason. And he gets trapped, and this was another one of the movies where I was watching the Friday the 13th movies as a kid, and I saw the opening scene, and I turned it off. Like, this was the one where I was right to turn it off, though, because the opening scene, to me, was just so stupid. I hated it. It was so campy and just not good. It just felt like, this is not Friday the 13th. That's what it felt like, honestly.
And this was a movie at this next moment for Jason, because she has some kind of little bathrobe or something and runs out the door, escapes through the door, and then she goes into the bushes or something, and then all these like stadium lights come on all around, highlighting Jason, and everybody starts shooting him from all around him. It's kind of reminiscent of the movie Bonnie and Clyde, when Bonnie and Clyde get killed at the end, and all these people have their machine guns. They're just not all machine guns. They're all different types of guns, but they're all wearing these kind of black fatigues, these men, not in Bonnie and Clyde, but in this movie, and they shoot them all to pieces. So, what's next?
Well, this is where...
Oh, the girl was a police officer, by the way, which is a joke, because I don't think they have police officers that look like that. But anyway, I could be wrong.
They do it. You know, there was one very infamous one that I don't even think you know of her existence, and her name is Megan, and she's she's a very infamous police officer who is famous for having sex with multiple fellow officers, and they would have like gangbangs, and she was like and she was married with children as well, and so then she got let go, and she became like a meme, and then she tried to sue the police and said that her officers groomed her into having sex with her, and so she was trying to play the victim, and it was really hilarious. And so she would be one of those ones, you know. And actually, it would be really fun to see her in a Friday the 13th movie. Like, honestly, because, like, you know, I don't think she would be a good police officer anymore for obvious reasons. I mean, she was having sex on the job in the police cars and everything. Like, really, really gross. But she'd make a good first act victim for Jason. Right, Safi?
Yeah.
You like her? You ever heard about her?
No, I've never heard of her. So anyway, what's next? Well, there's two things. First, they have. We didn't mention the other review, but there's a. I don't know. It's some kind of like a reality show where they bring on people, and and they have this bounty hunter. And his name, I have it on another page, but he's there, and they have this interviewer, a man in the suit, and it's, you know, some special show that's on every week or something. So the bounty hunter is talking about Jason, and he says he has all these that he could take $500,000, which is $500,000, to track him down, and he will get him.
And he later on there's some very strange lines in this movie, and one of those lines is, he says something like, Jason reminds him of a little girl putting a hot dog through a donut.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, very weird lines. Very, almost like random, like just random words that are strung together into a sentence in this movie, like in a full moon movie or something.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the next thing is, we're at the coroner's.
Ugh.
Because why? For some reason, we have to do an autopsy on Jason, which I don't know why, to see if he's really dead after getting shot up like that.
You have to do an autopsy on everyone.
I guess so. So they have this one main coroner, African-American coroner. He's a real big guy. And he's in there all by himself, and there's guards by the door, too. And so everybody who even wants to go in the room has to be double and triple checked, and for some reason, some kind of security thing. And, which seems extra, I guess, because it's Jason. So he starts doing the autopsy, he takes his heart out, he puts it on that separate table. Well, then he starts seeing it beating, and he's like, what the hell? But then he stares at it and he gets entranced or something. And he goes over, this is the grossest thing. I mean, just thinking about it, I hate to even talk about it.
Yeah, it was really disgusting in this movie, actually.
He starts eating the heart.
Ew.
I mean, he shoved it in his mouth, and I thought, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, it looked very disgusting, and it was probably like the grossest part of the movie. And after that happened, though, you know what I really expected? I expected for the screen to cut to black, and then all of a sudden, because it was like the opening of an X-Files, and this whole movie, it actually looked like an X-Files episode mixed with like a full moon feature movie. Especially because of the way the actors look. They look very much like they were in a full moon movie, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. And wasn't the bounty hunter the guy in the X-Files?
Yeah.
He
was Mr. X.
He was Mr. X, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he died, but then they didn't even investigate his death or anything.
Yeah. Which is bad. I knew that was another thing. So anyway, what happens? I don't even want to speculate on what could happen, but he turns into Jason. And so Jason inhabits his body. So guess what he does? So the assistant coroner, he's got food for them, which why would you want to be eating while you're doing an autopsy? Anybody's autopsy is beyond my comprehension.
Well, and you think about, too, you'd have to, eat the food, then put on gloves, do some work, take off the gloves, eat some more food, put more gloves on, or maybe use the same gloves, I don't know. It just seems like, ew.
But of course, the moment he gets in there and the door shuts, he's toast.
Yeah.
And so then the next picture you see, you don't see it happening. The next picture you see is, all the guards are dead by the door, and he escapes. So what happens then? I have to look.
We are introduced to the final girl, and she is very obviously the final girl. And I gotta say, she is the dumpiest final girl of the series. Her character, she's very, average looking compared to all the other ones in the series. And she is a single mother, which is even more unattractive because, there's, as we've said before, too, there's this weird thing where people say that in these horror movies that people who have sex get killed. But it's well, this woman, she had sex multiple times to have this baby, and she had sex...
Not necessarily.
Well, might have. Most likely. You don't think she had sex with her partner multiple times?
I don't know, hon, but
not necessarily to get pregnant, but just in general.
Okay, that's
and so she had sex multiple times. So why doesn't Jason kill her? Why is she the final girl if she's had sex before?
Trying to make.
Is that she's had sex 9 months before the movie?
Yeah,
so that's wrong.
She got married to that. Remember the guy who had the TV show?
Yeah, that boring guy.
So he pops into the picture, but what they're coming to the area where Jason is to see her mom, and her mom is a waitress at this cafe. So they're in the cafe, and then this deputy comes in to say hello, and what happens to the deputy? The deputy gets taken over by Jason. And so you have this, now this guy isn't big, this guy's a short guy, and he gets taken over, so of course he attacks everybody. I think, is he the one that attacked the waitress?
I can't remember, Safi. This whole movie,
she dies.
This whole movie is very repetitive in the sense that somebody becomes Jason, they kill people, and then somebody else becomes Jason, they kill people. That's the whole movie, basically. And, I was zoning out for a lot of the movie because it was just so similar and so...
Well, the waitress gets killed, but the daughter comes for a funeral and to go to the house. Well, guess what? The daughter and the waitress and her baby, the daughter's baby, they're related to Jason.
Yeah.
So guess what else? We have the guy, remember that who she was with, and he is setting her up. He wants to, what is it? He wants Jason to come to the house or something, because he's using her, I think, to draw Jason to the house, and then the bounty hunter would come and catch him. He wants all that on his show to get ratings. And so she doesn't know any of that. And so boy, I have to look at my notes. Good thing I took really good notes.
Yeah, I know.
The deputy attacks the guy, the guy with the show, and he becomes Jason, and nobody knows it. And then what happens? She goes to doesn't she go to the sheriff's office with the guy, or the guy shows up there and she has the baby, and it ends up she leaves the baby at the restaurant, doesn't she? And they're taking care of the baby, but then after the guy she's with, he gets killed, the bounty hunter takes the baby, she doesn't know it, to her house, and she gets a note that he's taken the baby to the house, and he tells her that it has to be her or the baby, and of course the baby, this is a real baby, which is incapable of even standing or walking because it's not old enough.
To be fair, they could have chained Jason up, hypothetically, they could have chained him up, put a dagger in the baby's hands, and then had the baby killed. The baby would have been like, "Wah! What the fuck? Wah!"
So I know I've left out stupid action that I don't think anybody cares about, but the ending of it is, and I'm jumping to that, I don't think Marco's going to mind, but
no, not anymore. No.
The baby is stowed away to safety, which is a good thing. And then, and the not ex, I don't know what he is, ex-lover, who the father of the baby, he's been hanging around. He was blamed for these mysterious deaths around town, which he had nothing to do with. And he escapes jail and shows up there, and so you have him, you have the bounty hunter, and you have the daughter, Jessica, her name is Jessica, who has the baby, that her mother's awake for she was killed. And so she's there, and so the bounty hunter tells her what she has to do because she's related to him, and so she's the only one who can kill him. So there's this dagger, and it's like special because it has it's a engraved metal handle or something. It just looks special, and it's shaped weirdly.
It's very bizarre, the
I don't know where it came from.
The ideas that they came up with in this movie, like these strange little pieces of this non-existent mythology, where did that dagger come from? As Safi said,
it's special. It's not just anything you buy at the store.
It seems like this could have been, I gotta say, I really didn't like it. I thought that it was the worst one so far because it was just so not Friday the 13th. This could have been maybe good, though, if they did, a movie all by itself. Something not Friday the 13th. That had this body swapping idea, because body swapping is a fun concept for a horror movie, but in this movie, you hardly even see Jason Voorhees, and I actually like the design of his character too. I like the kind of ugly marshmallow head, gross Jason. I kind of like that design, even though he's really chubby. And it is very strange that, how did Jason get so big? When he, what does he eat? What did he eat to get that big? It didn't really make sense, but I thought he looked cool. He didn't look that bad. compared to other ones in the series that are coming up soon.
Anyway, there's all these struggles, and what she does is really odd. She has to reach around and...
Yeah, she gives him a reach around in a really weird way.
And stabs him in the chest, but with that special dagger, and it turns orange. Fiery orange.
And it sends him to hell.
And then, then he does still, even though he's affected, you can tell, he's still not dead yet, so she pushes it in with her, she stomps it in with her foot. And then this big orange light goes up to heaven. And then you have this scene straight out of Ghost, although they use rock monster people. These arms coming up out of the ground, and they all look like they're made of rocks. Have you ever seen Batman when he fights that? I think he fights like a rock monster in that series.
The series?
The cartoon series or something. Well, in Ghost, they're very shadowy figures. So they're like paper thin shadows that come up out of the ground. You hear this howling and this dark noise. Well, this is kind of these are these rock monster arms all around, and they pull him into the ground. And he grabs the ex-husband or whatever
and
he is.
This I would like to point out, this movie came out 3 years after Ghost, so he could have been influenced by that movie.
Yeah.
With doing this, because Safi, she's obsessed with Ghost, the movie Ghost. Like, I think it's one of her favorite movies.
Well,
right,
so
Safi?
he tries to pull her
right.
or her ex-lover or whatever.
Is that one of your favorites?
No, come on, with him, but he doesn't succeed, and he goes into the ground. Guess what though? We have a little surprise at the end of that shot, and of him being pulled in the ground.
No, at the end of the movie, you mean?
Well, in the end of the movie.
See, you're kind of speeding, and
well, go ahead and tell him what the surprise is.
Well, Freddy pulls him under.
Freddy Krueger.
He pulls his mask away, and that was stupid, and it was just kind of meaningless to me after the whole movie was not like Friday the 13th at all. It didn't mean very much because we hardly saw that mask the whole movie, so it really wasn't very.
Because he was other people.
But it was the only I guess it was the only okay thing in the whole movie, like the only good scene. I guess, out of the rest of the scenes, because I didn't get to mention Kasapi is going so fast, but that final girl, the dumpy final girl, she did a really impressive and unrealistic move where she runs toward Jason and jumps on his back like she's gonna ride him around town. And she reaches around, it seems like such an awkward and impossible thing to do, especially with Jason.
I think he turned a little bit. He was turned a little bit. I don't think it's completely turned around.
Not very much. I thought he was gonna fling her off and throw her off the roof or something, because it didn't seem like he fought very much, and it was very reminiscent to Halloween Ends, where, the grandson, she runs in and she does that wrestling move on Michael Myers to help Laurie kill him. It was very similar to that. Right, Safi?
It was her granddaughter.
The grandson.
He keeps calling her grandson because she's wearing boys' clothes. She and her boyfriend switched clothes for Halloween, and Marco can't get over it.
Yeah, because she's a grandson. She wouldn't dress like a girl.
Marco, it's Halloween.
So what?
Costume.
So what? They wouldn't do that in any other Halloween movie. They're trying to desexualize her. It's gross.
Okay, whatever. We're not going to argue about that because those movies were stupid and terrible.
And to be fair, Jason Goes to Hell is a lot better than the Halloween trilogy that just came out. So I will say that. I'd much rather watch this again. This X-Files wannabe movie. Full Moon features Jason. Yeah. Safi?
Well, anyway, so that's how it ends. And I have to say, Jason, what happens is when the husband, not the husband, but the guy she's with who has been using her, after he gets killed, then somehow the real Jason appears. I don't know how that works. And so, because all this time it's been other people where Jason has been in the body, their body. And so it's been somebody else who's had like a stony face, and then they just go killing everybody in sight. And when he leaves the body, they kind of melt or something, and they're no longer living. I mean, I'm not even saying that they've been killed or anything. That they just, if he leaves their body, they'll die because of that. And so anyway, it's the real Jason in the end. So that's when she reaches around and all that. That's really him. So that's why I say that, because it is really him.
In general, I think we should stop like just repeating everything that happened in the movie.
It's done.
We should say what we thought and just get into a discussion about it instead. And one of the things that I talked about is that over the course of reviewing this series, we discovered that there's this whole myth. One of the biggest myths of horror movies, besides the if you have sex you die bullshit, one of the myths is that black people in horror movies get killed first. That's a complete myth. Completely false. If you look at statistics, it's not true at all. And we've seen in this series now, in part 3, you had the black biker guy. He did not get killed first. The first people to get killed were that white couple at the store. And then in part 5, you had Reggie and his brother. They were not the first people to get killed, and Reggie did not get killed at all. And then was there a black guy in part 6? Because I can't remember. There's so many characters in the series.
They went when they go to Manhattan. There's the boxer.
Oh yeah, well the boxer, he is not the first person to get killed first in the movie. The first person to get killed in that movie is a white couple, and then
an African American couple. Did you already mention that?
No, in Friday the 13th 7, there was that boring black couple that just had sex all the time. They were not the first people to get killed in that movie. The first person to get killed was a white person. And then in this movie, there is Mr. X, and he is not the first person to get killed in the movie, and neither is the coroner guy. The first person to get killed in this movie is a white guy. It's Jason. So that's it's totally false. So it's pretty bad.
That the bounty hunter got killed at all.
Yeah,
I was thinking he was going to live.
I thought he would get killed.
I just think maybe that's probably unrealistic, but I thought, well, maybe they'll change it up.
Because he was supposed to, I guess, kind of be like, like he's after Moby Dick, and he's like the guy who's just, he's too into it, and he's too obsessed, and so he's going to end up getting killed. So I thought he would die. I wasn't surprised.
So anyway, it was a crappy movie.
Yeah.
I did not like that eating of the heart. It just made me want to burp. And I mean, really, I didn't even want to think about that again. And then because he loses, it gets lost, erased. The video gets erased. And I know this happens to other YouTubers because I've heard about it from them when they say it on their channels. It happens.
And this one's important because it's a part of such a major series. If it was the review for one of the Goosebumps episodes, then I'd just say whatever. We could talk about it at the beginning of next video. But this is a Friday the 13th movie. Very important to have this. And I would also say that there's hardly anything good that I have to say about this movie. And that is a big issue because even with the other bad ones that we've talked about, like the first one and then the New York one, I have good things to say about them. with this one, it's just like trash. It's a trashy movie. It's boring. It's not boring. It's just really uninteresting and not Friday the 13th to me. And for those reasons, I don't like it. But I don't mind people who do. Like, the unfortunate thing is we went through, like, this hilarious number of reviews on IMDb of these people who gave it a 10 out of 10. Because Safi was like, oh, somebody gave this movie a 10 out of 10? And we went through those, and it was pretty hilarious. But
I guess it's not surprising after reading somebody's review that kids in high school wear pearls today, both boys and girls, which it just freaks me out. But I know everybody has their own opinion, and I respect that, but I just don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't believe it at all. So anyway, we have, since it's a movie and we gave food reviews, I do remember mine. I don't know if Marco remembers his. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I do.
He has an excellent memory, which I have a spotty memory. I don't know if that's what you want to call it. But anyway, because I just usually, when I see these things, I just kind of like file them away in my mind, and then I don't want to think of, especially this one with eating somebody's heart.
And we also pointed out that, I really wasn't that grossed out by it, even though it was gross, because I have seen on YouTube so many videos of like those weirdos who like to eat raw organs on YouTube. And there are videos, we actually looked at them on this video.
God, I know, and it was so awful. They just don't know what those animals can have, too, especially rabbits. They have tularemia, and oh, God.
It was very gross. And,
God.
And people do that all the time, though. Like, they eat some weird things on Google. On YouTube.
And you got to be very careful when you do that stuff. It's not a joke. So anyway, I gave it an ordinary pizza, with just a regular crust and some sauce and some cheese, which, that sounds good. That's because it's the Friday the 13th series. It does have a solid base. It's been going on now for 9, as of this movie that we watched, 9 movies. Whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. It has a solid base, because if you hear, it's going to be a Friday the 13th movie, well then you probably want to go see it, or you're interested in hearing about it or something. But then on top of it is a bunch of crumbled cake crumbs and gross stuff that it makes it inedible.
To add birthday cake flavor to the pizza.
Yeah,
ew.
Have you ever had the flavor birthday cake?
Yeah.
It really doesn't, it's not a good addition to anything.
Well, sometimes it is. A birthday cake shake at Steak and Shake is incredible.
But we've tasted in something else.
Oreos.
And there, it was not good.
Yeah, that wasn't good. No.
So what's your review, Marco, your food review?
Well, McAllister's Deli used to have one of my favorite meals called the Big Nasty Sandwich, and it was roast beef with cheese, no sauce, on a baguette, and you would dip it in gravy, and it was just delicious. I would get it once a week on a Friday, and it was just amazing. The gravy was peppery, and the meat was really good most of the time, and the cheese worked really well with it, and it was perfect. This is, a different thing altogether. See, McAllister's Deli took the Big Nasty off the menu for no reason. But there is a way that you can kind of MacGyver a Big Nasty sandwich with the deli's menu. You can take a French dip sandwich and you can take the Swiss cheese off and put the other kinds of cheese on the menu that are from the Big Nasty sandwich. The only thing missing in this equation is the gravy. They give you an au jus. And so instead of au jus, you go to KFC or you go to the store and you get gravy. but it's just not the same. It does not taste the same as McAllister's gravy. It's not anything like it, so therefore it is not that same sandwich and not good. Not as good. So that's what I would give this movie. I wanted to like it because I like it when things are different. You know, I really like Halloween 3, even though everyone complained about that movie when it came out. And obviously Sleepaway Camp 2 was very different from the first one, but I love that movie the best out of the series. But this is one where I do not like it. Like, it is just so trashy and just not Friday the 13th.
Yeah. They must have gotten lazy or something.
No, they gave, like, this guy who, I don't think he ever made a movie before, and this was, like, one of his first ones or his first one, and it was, like, all his vision, and, you know, it just didn't work for me. And,
I like the ending.
Yeah.
I do like I do like
Really?
the devil hands, the emissaries of hell coming through the ground, and I don't know what was the music or what was the noise that they played. See,
I don't know.
Remember, just
I don't
probably
remember.
wasn't that good, or I remember it.
And the music was not very good either. It also did not sound like Friday the 13th. I think
Maybe that's why I don't remember.
I think too, I wish that someone would do an edit of this movie where they put, like, real Friday the 13th music over this movie, because I think that might help the movie and make it better.
We had to rent the movie, and in order to find out, unless maybe I could find out on YouTube, I don't know, but we'd have to rent the movie again just to find out, and I don't want to do that, so anyway, that's it. So if you like this video that's late because it got lost, give it a thumbs up and tell us what your thoughts of the movie and of the series. I know a few other people on Facebook who watch movies are watching the Friday the 13th series too for some reason. Maybe they're not watching all of the movies. They're just picking select ones because maybe they've seen them all.
Don't pick this one.
Yeah, don't pick this one. I didn't get to say that. They were watching 5, I think. And I wanted to tell them what my favorite one is, but then when I went to look for the comment and the posting of what they were watching, I couldn't find it again. That's what happens. It disappears and then it pops up again. So, you know, whatever. So anyway, goodbye everybody.
Bye.